Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're diving into the world of Kennedy half dollars, especially the silver ones with the D mint mark, and some of these coins are worth serious money. Believe it or not, people have found these coins in old jars, pocket change, and even at yard sales, only to discover they're worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In this video, we'll break down the rare dates you should be looking for, the key mint marks collectors chase, the importance of silver content, and the valuable errors that can turn an ordinary half dollar into a hidden treasure. So stay tuned and check your coins carefully because you might already have a valuable piece sitting at home. The story of a 1973 D. Kennedy half dollar sounding like a hidden $900,000 treasure is the kind of headline that grabs attention instantly. But here's the reality you need to understand before anything else. A 1973 D half dollar is not a silver coin. By 1971, the United States had already removed silver from circulating half dollars. So anything struck in 1973, especially with a D mint mark from the Denver Mint, was made from a copper-nickel clad composition. That means the idea of it being a rare silver jackpot right from the start is already built on a misunderstanding. Now let's step into the world of the Kennedy half dollar, a coin introduced in 1964 to honor John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination. Early versions did contain silver, which is why collectors often associate the series with precious metal value. But by 1973, the coin had fully transitioned into a common circulation piece. Millions were produced, especially in Denver, and they were meant to be spent, handled, and circulated widely. That's why most 1973 D half dollars you find today show wear, dull surfaces, and what many people call dirty condition. Here's the critical truth. A worn or dirty 1973 D. Kennedy half dollar is usually worth only its face value, 50 cents. Even in better condition, most examples don't reach high prices because they are simply too common. The myth of million-dollar power comes from confusing this coin with far rarer pieces in U.S. coin history. There are indeed coins that have sold for hundreds of thousands or more, but they are extremely rare errors, special compositions, or historically unique issues, not standard circulation coins from the 1970s. But don't lose interest, because this is where things become genuinely exciting. Within even the most common coins, there are rare exceptions. A 1973 D half dollar in near-perfect condition, with strong details and original mint luster, can be worth significantly more than face value. Collectors look for sharp features, especially on the portrait and the eagle design. And then there are mint errors, coins struck off-center with doubled images or unusual die flaws. These rare mistakes can transform an ordinary coin into something collectible and valuable, sometimes reaching hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on rarity and demand. The shocking history people talk about often comes from misunderstanding how coin values are created. It's not about dramatic claims or viral numbers. It's about rarity, condition, and verified demand in the collector market. A listing online showing a coin for $900,000 doesn't mean it actually sells for that amount. Real value is determined by actual transactions between knowledgeable collectors. Still, there is something powerful about holding a 1973 D. Kennedy half dollar. It represents a moment in American history when the country was transitioning away from silver coinage, adapting to economic pressures, and continuing the legacy of one of its most remembered presidents. It passed through countless hands, witnessing everyday life in a changing era. So could this coin make you rich overnight? Almost certainly not. But could it still surprise you if it has an unusual feature or exceptional condition? Possibly. The key is not to fall for exaggerated promises, but also not to ignore the details. Because in coin collecting, the real treasures are not the ones everyone talks about. They're the ones only a careful eye can truly see. The idea of a 1974 Kennedy half dollar with no mint mark secretly holding $900,000 power is the kind of story that spreads fast, but the truth behind it is more grounded and honestly more interesting once you understand it. First, a reality check. A 1974 half dollar from the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it has no mint mark, is not a silver coin. By that time, the Kennedy half dollar had already switched to a copper-nickel clad composition. The only 1974 Kennedy halves that contain silver are special collector issues, not the regular coins found in circulation. To understand the deeper story, you have to go back to why this coin exists at all. The Kennedy half dollar was first introduced in 1964 to honor John F. Kennedy, and the early versions were struck in silver, which made them instantly popular with the public. People began saving them, hoarding them, even treating them like keepsakes rather than spending money. By the early 1970s, silver had disappeared from everyday coins, and the half dollar itself was slowly fading from daily use. That's the environment in which the 1974 version was born. No longer precious metal, but still carrying powerful historical symbolism. Now here's where expectations need to be corrected. A normal 1974 Kennedy half dollar with no mint mark, especially in dirty or heavily circulated condition, is typically worth only its face value, 50 cents. That dark tone, scratches, or worn look people often think signals rarity actually reduces value. These coins were produced in large numbers and spent widely, so they are very common today. The no mint mark isn't a rare feature. It simply means it came from Philadelphia, which didn't use mint marks on many coins during that period. But the story doesn't end there, because this is where coin collecting becomes fascinating. Hidden within millions of ordinary coins, there can be rare exceptions. A 1974 half dollar that has been preserved in near-perfect condition, with strong shine and crisp details, can be worth significantly more than face value. Collectors pay attention to the smallest features, the sharpness of the portrait, the detail in the eagle, the absence of marks. And then there are mint errors, coins struck off-center, with double designs or unusual die flaws. These rare mistakes can push a coin's value into the hundreds or even thousands, depending on how unique they are. The myth of million-dollar coins comes from completely different pieces, extremely rare issues, unusual compositions, or historical accidents that produced only a handful of coins. Those are the coins that sell for massive amounts at auctions, not standard circulation coins like a 1974 half dollar. Online listings with huge price tags often create confusion, but real value is determined by actual sales and collector demand, not bold claims. Still, holding a 1974 Kennedy half dollar connects you to a powerful moment in American history, a time when the country was transitioning away from silver coinage and adjusting to a new economic reality. It's a coin that carries memory, symbolism, and a legacy of a president whose image still resonates decades later. So no, this coin is not likely to make you a billionaire overnight. But that doesn't mean it's worthless. Look closely. Study it. Because in the quiet world of coin collecting, the difference between ordinary and valuable is often hidden in details so small most people never notice. And sometimes, that's exactly where the real treasure begins. The idea that a 1990 P. Kennedy half dollar could secretly be a $900,000 treasure is the kind of story that pulls you in instantly. But before the excitement takes over, there's an important truth to understand. A regular 1990 half dollar from the Philadelphia Mint, marked with a P, is not a silver coin. By 1990, the Kennedy half dollar had long since moved to a copper-nickel clad composition for circulation. The only silver versions from that year were special collector pieces, proof coins struck in limited quantities, not the everyday coins people found in change. To understand why people still believe in hidden millions, you have to look at the legacy of John F. Kennedy himself. When the coin was first released in 1964, it contained real silver, and the emotional connection to Kennedy caused people to save them in huge numbers. Over time, that memory of valuable silver have stayed in people's minds, even after the metal content changed. By 1990, the coin still carried that legacy, but not the precious metal value. Now, picture a 1990 P half dollar in dirty condition. It's been through years of handling, passed from one person to another, dropped, scratched, exposed to air and moisture. That darkened look might seem mysterious, but in reality, it usually means the coin has been heavily circulated. And in coin collecting, heavy wear almost always lowers value. A typical circulated 1990 p half dollar is worth only its face value, 50 cents. There's no hidden million in a standard example, no matter how dramatic the story sounds. But here's where the real intrigue begins. Not all coins are equal, even within the same year and mint. A 1990 p half dollar that somehow survived in near-perfect condition, sharp edges, brilliant luster, almost untouched, can be worth significantly more to collectors. Condition is everything. Then there are the rare mint errors, the accidental creations that happen during production. A coin struck slightly off-center with a double design or with unusual die flaws can suddenly stand apart from millions of others. These are the coins that spark excitement, sometimes reaching hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on rarity. The myth of billionaire overnight coins usually comes from confusion with extremely rare pieces in U.S. history. Coins made in error, in tiny numbers, or under unusual circumstances. Those coins are studied, authenticated, and sold at major auctions. They are not common circulation coins from 1990. High prices you might see online are often just asking prices, not real sales. Still, there's something meaningful about holding a 1990 P. Kennedy half dollar. It represents continuity, a coin that survived decades after its introduction, carrying the image of a president who left a lasting mark on history. Even without silver, it remains a symbol of a moment in time, quietly moving through everyday life. So don't rush to believe the hype, but don't ignore the coin either. Look closely. Check for sharp details, unusual features, or anything that feels different. Because in the world of coin collecting, value isn't created by loud claims. It's discovered by careful observation. And sometimes, the smallest detail can turn an ordinary coin into something worth far more than anyone expected.